Football is officially back, baby. Tonight, the Detroit Lions, Kansas City Chiefs gets it all started, and Jets and Bills will finish it off in week one. We've got a special guest. It's time to talk about it. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans. Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show. Come on, people. Aaron Rodgers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby. For me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever seen.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Good morning. What's poppin', everybody? My name is Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. This is Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show live every single day at 7:30, a quick 20-minute episode. So let's waste no time as football is back, and we bring on the man, the architect of Badlands, the feed, the podcast, the articles, the season preview guide, and all that jazz, Joe gosh darn Caparoso. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Happy to be here with you bright and early. I love it. Football's back.
That's right. And Joe, I'll throw it up on the screen. This is beautiful. I don't know if because I have one child, we'll see what happens in the future. Normally that's a 9-month process. I'm not sure how long it took for this baby to cook in the oven, but let's throw it up on the screen. The Badlands season preview guide with position previews, offensive and defensive scheme breakdowns, X factors, breakout players, 2023 predictions. You got Connor's handsome mug and some video form. You guys had that in the draft guide with these pop-up videos too. Super interactive. Wow, Joe, congratulations. I've only glossed over this so far this morning as it came out a little bit ago, but wow, looks sexy, my friend.
Thank you. All credit to Dan Eason, who's designed this for us and grown it over the last couple of years and has the visual picture in his head of how this came together. And myself, Connor, Will, Paul, Zance, Dalbin all got to contribute our predictions, our thoughts, and to get it all in this type of format from where we were a few years ago has been very cool and exciting and really makes it feel like football's back. And it's good to be making winning predictions for the Jets for the first time we've ever done it. This is uncharted territory for us.
Well, it's phenomenal that we finally got here. Dan will be joining us this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that for these Boy Green Daily shows that are every single day. So phenomenal stuff, guys. If you haven't, it's I think Joe says at the beginning of every episode, the best New York Jets subscription podcast in the universe. Okay, so make sure you guys sign up so you guys can get those juicy deets. We're only a handful of days away from the Jets season, specifically starting, but the NFL season does start today. Now, Joe, one of the things I love to do, besides obviously covering like a Robert Saleh presser later today and things, is seeing what the opponent is saying. So I listened to all the Buffalo Bills media access yesterday, Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, so many others. And Sean McDermott, I'm going to be honest, just had a weird-ass quote. So I just kind of want to throw it to you, Joe. I don't know if you've seen the clip as it's been trotting away social media. He was asked about preparing for Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett and this new look Jets offense. And he said, to be honest, there's been a lot of challenges. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit so we don't waste time playing the clip. But, he said it's been a challenge and, quote, there's not a whole lot of film of Aaron Rodgers with Coach Hackett. They've both been around each other, but never in the two seats that they currently occupy. Is this coach speak? Is he being honest that he doesn't really know what to watch? Because he mentioned, I'm not sure what to watch and for how long, whether it was Bronco stuff or Packer stuff or this or that. Again, coach speak, real? What do you think?
Feels mostly like coach speak. I mean, McDermott's a good coach. He's been at this for a bit now and had a lot of success with Buffalo. I think some of your standard week one gamesmanship, coach speak, and I am sure him and that entire staff knows every little bit of where to watch every piece of Rodgers and Hackett working separately, working together. They'll be prepared. I think the question is more from a talent perspective and from a matchup perspective with when this game is taking place without Von Miller. Does Buffalo have enough to avoid losing to the Jets at MetLife for the second year in a row? And I got to say, I like this matchup for the Jets early in the year. It doesn't necessarily mean I think they are better than Buffalo until they prove it over the course of a season, but the Jets match up pretty well with them and I think are better positioned to take advantage of Buffalo's weaknesses up front than vice versa.
I agree with you that there's a lot of BS here. However, I do believe there's an interesting underlying tone here. Sean McDermott is calling plays. This man hasn't called plays since 2016. It's 2023. And on top of that, he's not the defensive coordinator. He's the freaking head coach. So he has to balance both calling defensive plays for the first time in 7 years and being the head coach. And his first task, NFL MVP, 4-time NFL MVP, Aaron friggin' Rodgers. And he even joked about it saying, they didn't really take it easy on me in my first game back. But, that's kind of I don't know if I want to say a secret advantage, but that's a pretty good advantage on the other side. Sure, the Jets are new with what they're bringing in, but Sean McDermott has to call plays in 7 years. I think that's got to be a factor and help.
It should. I mean, look, there's going to be an adjustment back for him having to do both jobs at once. And, Buffalo, they're going to be a little shorthanded. They're without their top edge rusher. They've been a little banged up at safety, although it sounds like everyone's going to play. And this is a very different Jets offense than they played last year. The last time these two teams played each other and the Jets lost 20-12, 8 combined targets for Denzel Mims and Braxton Berrios. Leading rusher was Zonovan Knight. Quarterbacks were Mike White and Joe Flacco. It's a completely different offense and a completely different team. Buffalo did not see AVT or Breece Hall at all last year. Of course, the Jets now have Dalvin Cook, Mecole Hardman, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, all Jeremy Ruckert playing in a bigger role, all to go with Rodgers at quarterback, Breece Hall being back, and Garrett Wilson, who played well against Buffalo in both games last year. So it's a much different task. And again, I think the timing and this being at MetLife works out well for the Jets, and they have a great chance to start 1-0 here and to get an important early season division win.
Joe, if I categorized you as a pragmatic guy, what would you say to that? Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I try to pride myself on being pragmatic when it comes to our Jets.
Excellent. So I want to throw something out there, and I just want you to give a percentage on what you believe. I've said it since the beginning of this week. You say the Jets match up well against Buffalo. I couldn't agree more. I believe the Jets are going to blow the barn doors off the Bills. And I've said that I believe the Jets are going to get on top of them early. The atmosphere and everything can potentially overwhelm this team, and they can ride it out, and it'll be really difficult for the Bills against this defense to all of a sudden go, flying hoots, we're down 14, 17 really quickly, and then it ends up being, my official prediction was 31-12. If you were a pragmatic guy that we've already established, and you had to put a percentage on that actually coming to fruition, what would you say to that?
I would say maybe like 25 to 35%. I don't think that scenario's that crazy. If there is going to be a blowout in week 1, I think it's going to go in the Jets' favor. I think 70%. This is a very close game that comes down to the final few minutes. And I like the Jets sort of in a 24, 20, 21, 17, on the under close type game. But is there a scenario where we get a little, is it 2012 week 1 or some other, the Jets Lions week 1 where, sometimes things just, those wins were not predictive of how the rest of the season went, but sometimes opening day can go like that. And yes, if the Jets get up 14-3 in the second quarter or get up 16-0 like they did on Buffalo a few years ago, with this defense, there is a path to them having a comfortable blowout win in this one. I would bet on it. I don't expect it to happen, but for right now, with where this game is, there's a path for that to happen. Although again, I'm thinking Jets win a close one. I'm thinking under. I'm thinking the defenses are out ahead of the offenses for both teams in this game. And look, if the Jets win 6-3, I think we'll all be ecstatic because you don't want to have to be 0-1 going into Dallas. You want to, be 1-0 going into that game, and then God willing, be able to come back to play New England at home when you're 2-0.
That would be amazing. John, I'm going to be honest. From knowing you after all these years, I thought if I'm giving a percentage chance, I thought there was a 0% chance that you would even play with me. I thought you were going to slap me around, maybe, that there's no way you're grabbing the scuba gear on and at least swimming in the water. I mean, 25, 30%. That's a percentage. That's not too shabby. But anywho, let me throw this one at you, Joe. Do you believe, I asked this to our Bills guy yesterday, Buffalo Bills sideline reporter Sal Capaccio, shout out to him, and thanks for him for joining the show from WGR 550. I ask you here, Joe, are the Jets, or is the Jets defense Josh Allen's kryptonite? We threw up the stats yesterday. Like, Josh Allen smacks around Miami routinely. He seems to, no matter what personnel or anything's going on, he seems to perform very well against Miami when you look at his career numbers. When you look at his career numbers against the Jets, and there's a few iterations, obviously Greg Williams and a lot of different things, the Jets seem to really give him the business. Specifically last year, I think someone tweeted it at me, like 8 sacks over those 2 games. Are the Jets Josh Allen's kryptonite?
Look, especially last season, the Jets clearly have something going on with how they defend Josh Allen in a positive way. He was able to hurt them running the football, but throwing the football, he struggled immensely in both those games. I think, the completion percentage is down, the yards per attempts are down, as you said, sacked 8 times over the 2 games, 2 interceptions in the first matchup. Only threw for 147 yards in the game that Buffalo won. So that Jets defense will be confident going into this game, right? They've beat Josh Allen in this building. They have taken him down a lot. They have stopped him from killing them throwing the football. Now, they have to slow down his running because I believe he ran for more than enough against them last year. But in terms of throwing the football, he has struggled a lot, especially when he tries to go on the outside against Gardner and DJ Reed. The key for the Jets is stop Josh Allen from running and stop him from attacking the middle of the field with Dawson Knox and Kincaid, which is a tough matchup for them. And we'll put a lot on their safety group. But this defense will be confident. Sauce Gardner has intercepted Josh Allen. Jordan White has intercepted Josh Allen. Jermaine Johnson had that big sack against Josh Allen. Bryce Huff ended the game against Josh Allen. This unit's not going to go in lacking confidence.
Again, we're speaking with Joe Gastar Caparoso, baby. Badlands Feed, the podcast, and all the wonderful things. The best subscription New York Jets podcast on the planet. And Joe, I don't know if you remember this, but for those who don't know, Joe, you join me every Thursday, which is today. I guess we're getting a lot of me and you today. Join me on Sports Talk Radio in Syracuse, talking all things Jets. And a couple of months ago, Joe, I asked you, hey, are there some additions the Jets could make to their roster? What are some names? And Joe, I don't know if you remember this, but you went, well, let me throw one out there. Kenny Golladay. And I went, Kenny Golladay? What the hell? I was like, Joe, what are you smoking, man? Joe, Kenny freaking Golladay, what the hell are you talking about? You're just like, hey, man, I'm just putting it out there. And then this week, the Jets worked out. Checks, freaking notes. New York Giants bust Kenny Golladay. First off, did you remember that? And number 2, what did you just randomly pull that name out of thin air? Did you have some sense on a scheme thing or something that stood out in some way? Because I couldn't believe it when I saw that come across the ticker yesterday. I went, holy crap! Joe is a gosh darn magician.
I did have a laugh when I saw that yesterday, and I know they worked out him. They worked out Jeff Smith and another familiar funny name. I think my thought was that the Jets, after they didn't get Odell, I think have been looking for more outside the numbers vertical options to complement Garrett Wilson, to complement what Hardman and Cobb do in the slot, like a pure vertical receiver outside the numbers. And Golladay, for as terrible as he was with the Giants, isn't that far removed from being exactly that guy, and still relatively young. You're talking about a veteran minimum contract. And could the coaching staff say, look, with Rodgers, could this guy come in and run a handful of vertical routes a game when no one's paying attention to him and make a few plays as our 5th or 6th receiver? Doesn't seem crazy. I think they're doing their diligence right now. I think they'll probably stay pat at receiver for the first couple of weeks and see how everything looks. It's unconventional in that they're keeping 3 rookies, and 2 of those guys kind of fit the bill of what I discussed in Charles and in Brownlee. But it does feel like another addition's coming at receiver at some point. It might be small, like Smith or Golladay, or it might be a Mike Evans type move closer to the trade deadline. I think it's going to depend how the top guys look and if the young guys can step up, if pressed into action. But it is a position to watch for an in-season move without question.
Yeah, obviously that's what most people do. If they're all in the OBJ train, woo, that didn't work out. Okay, Kenny Golladay, baby, let's Golladay, let's bring him in. Although, to your point, I mean, I remember the Lions days where he's a fantasy superstar, and we were like, man, if he could just get on a real team, he could beat something. And then the horrible run with the Giants, I think, has soured a lot of our taste. But to your point, they got 7 receivers on the roster. They don't got a single guy on the practice squad, so that's kind of weird. That's a weird thing. So Golladay naturally could fit in there. So we'll see. That'd be kind of funny if he was on the team ahead of that Week 8 matchup and Golladay somehow makes a big play on the Giants. That would be hilarious. So we'll see if somehow those jokes can potentially come a little bit later. So you've already mentioned, Joe, that you like how the Jets match up. What don't you like about this matchup between the Jets and Bills at any specific positional group or X factor storyline of this game? What don't you like about this matchup from a Jets perspective? Look at the Bills like, whoa, yikes.
I mean, look, they have the tight ends to attack the middle of the Jets defense. And while we're all very excited about Tony Adams, we still need to see how this linebacker and safety group can handle that. Josh Allen, for as much as he struggled passing last year, ran all over the Jets and really hurt them with his legs. And he's kind of like an alien. So that is always scary in these matchups. And then, for the Jets offense, we're going to see a lot of stuff for the first time. We haven't seen Dalvin Cook play at all. We haven't seen Dwayne Brown play at all. We haven't seen Breece Hall play at all. There's going to be some ugly moments in that first half and in these first couple of weeks. And that's okay. It's a matter of how they react and get better from it. But there's some question marks on the offense still. I feel good about Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, but a lot of these guys have not played a lot of reps together this summer. So I could see some early struggles on offense.
You mentioned Alien, and I was listening to the latest Badlands episode, and I'm trying to think in my head because Breece Hall, obviously we haven't seen him since October of last year in terms of actual game action. The Jets are going to play in this game, according to Robert Saleh. And like in our head, we're like, they'll prance around 5 to 10 touches, maybe. But man, if I see them, let's say Breece trots out there at the starting offense and he breaks, I don't know, a 35-yarder, all of a sudden, zoinks. Well, screw the plan. It's Breece Hall time, baby. He's an alien. It happens. Adrian Peterson, I know that's an outlier, but he blew out his ACL next year, ran for 2,000 yards, went buck wild. I mean, we just talked about percentage of chances of things happening. Maybe Breece Hall is just a freak, and he's been on this hell path, as we've seen from the One Jets drive and stuff, and maybe he's just ready to roll, and holy beep, you get Dalvin Cook, who obviously is coming off shoulder surgery and stuff. We have him and Breece Hall rocking from the get-go. I mean, whoa. That's within the realm of possibilities and outcomes, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have no idea what to expect with this guy, and he might be that rare sort of Adrian Peterson type player. I think the Jets have to probably do a little bit of protecting Breece from himself. I think there will, of course, be a temptation that if he rips off a big run early, do you just let him go for 20 carries?
Yeah.
That feels unnecessarily risky when you have Dalvin Cook. Probably. But, I think it will be a pretty equal split between Carter, him, and Cook week 1. But there is a scenario where they ride the hot hand a little bit and Breece Hall is kind of back up to speed quicker than we expect.
Do you believe that no matter what, we're going to all overreact on that Tuesday? If the Jets win, we're going to the freaking Super Bowl, baby. And if they lose, oh, good Lord, have mercy. Everything has collapsed like a used lawn chair.
There's no way that Jet fans will not overreact to week 1, no matter what the outcome is. Look, it's the most excitement there's been for a season in a long time. So that type of reaction is going to happen no matter what. It's going to happen with a lot of these early season games. You got to keep perspective. They could win this game in a blowout fashion, like you said, and it doesn't mean anything, or they could lose and it doesn't end the season. I think they have a very hard first 6 games. If they could get to that bye week 3-3 or 4-2, it doesn't sound great on paper, but they're going to be in good shape with how the schedule breaks the rest of the way. And if they could just get through this early part of the schedule, there will be some bumps in this part of the schedule. It sets up to close very strong. So seasons are not defined in week 1, but it would certainly be nice to get a division win early.
Joe, I'm the worst friend that you can possibly have because I just continue to try this peer pressure. So far, you've been very strong, Joe. You've been very stoic. You've ignored any of my pokes. But I've asked you throughout this offseason, as it's progressed and things have changed in all our different areas and pathways that we speak. And I say, hey, your schedule prediction, any wiggle room? You're gonna, jump on the crazy bandwagon I'm yelling all the time. So I'm like, oh, I feel this way one day, this way the other day. Again, Joe, as we're on the edge here, we're on the precipice, as we could say, of the season. Are you feeling a little froggy? You feeling a little, hey, I know I said this, but we're here, baby. I'm saying this. And you just kind of lay it out there on the line. Are you willing to wiggle? Are you?
I still believe this is an 11-6 team. I think that 11-6 will be enough to narrowly win the AFC East and host their first playoff game in a very long time. I think they will win a playoff game at home. Beyond that, I don't know whether it's in the divisional round or in the AFC Championship game, but whenever they run into Kansas City, I think that's when their season will end this year. And I think that will prompt a Devontae Adams type transaction going into 2024. I'm not saying they're not all in this year where they really go that much further over the top. This should be a double-digit win team this year, and anything less than that is going to be disappointing. 8-9, 9-8, not good enough with everything that they've done. It should be 10, 11, or 12, depending on how things break, and they're good enough to do that. It's a top 3 defensive line in the league. It's a top 3 cornerback in the league. It's a top 5 inside linebacker in the league. It's a top 5 quarterback in the league, and a potentially first team, second team All-Pro receiver. There's enough talent here with their schedule to get to those marks. So I don't think it's crazy to suggest that could happen.
All right, Joe, when are you buying the tickets? Obviously, you're going week 1. Come on. When are you getting the 50-yard line tickets, the wink, wink, hey, I'm Joe Caparoso, get me the hell in? When's that happening?
I wish that was the case. I keep getting harassed by the Jets season ticket office to buy season tickets again, even though I just kind of buy them on a one-off basis when I go. Yeah, I've tried that before. It doesn't get as much traction as you think it might. I will end up buying tickets probably like noon on Monday, and somewhere maybe down in the upper first level or the second level, but I'll be there. There's no way I'm going to end up missing this game. I always end up caving and going to a few early season games, even though I do kind of like some of the things that you get from watching at home. But for the environment, I think I have to be there week 1.
That atmosphere is going to be wild, and I hope you guys all enjoy it. I will do this in joint succession as we're wrapping up here, because there's several members of the Badlands TOJ family that have already entered. Folks, today is your last day to enter our free Jets jersey giveaway. It's linked down wherever you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You have to predict exactly a Joe and all his friends have in the Badlands season preview guide. Predict what's going to happen. Who are the Jets going to beat? Who they're going to lose to? And their final regular season record. If you do that, you have an opportunity to win a free Jets jersey out of my pocket. I want to give some lucky Jet fans any jersey of their choice. We have over 100 Jet fans in this contest, so feel free to join several of Joe's compatriots that have already submitted their claim in here, but today is the last day to do so. So, guys, make sure you guys do that. And Joseph, thank you so much for joining me. I guess I'll see you in a little bit hear you a little bit on the radio side, brother.
Thanks for having me.
There he is, Joe Caparoso. Make sure you guys check out the freaking Badlands season guide and enjoy all of that jazz. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy NFL football tonight. We'll have Detroit Lions. We'll have Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be spectacular, baby, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning. Who do we get on the schedule? Let me take a quick peek ski. Who do we have on the schedule for tomorrow? Ty Butler of ESPN 98.7 will be joining us tomorrow on Boy Green Daily. Looking forward to that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And then, again, one more shout-out. Linked everywhere you're watching, live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter, or X, or whatever the hell you're talking about. There's a link. You click that. You go to the In Case You Missed It section, and it says this. Join more than 114 Jet fans who have already entered our Gang Green schedule prediction contest. Click this link, which is hyperlinked. Scroll down to the comment section. Tell us who the Jets will beat, who they will lose to, and tell us your prediction for the final regular season record, and you'll be entered into our contest. Again, guys, this is your last chance. We have over 100 people watching right now. Is that the same 100 people who have already entered? Probably unlikely. So if some of you are watching this, again, the contest ends today. I can't extend it. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It is today by kickoff of the Lions-Chiefs game. So you guys have a handful of hours, somewhere in the ballpark of 12 hours to get your final entries in. And then after that, we will not be accepting any more. So, guys, I want you to have a chance to win a free Jets jersey of your choice. Free shipping, free everything sent to you. Enjoy football tonight, baby. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, for Boy Green Daily. And also, let me throw this out there because I keep saying, and one more thing. I want to give a massive shout out. We are bringing something new to the table. We do post-game shows after every game. It's normally about 2 hours after because I like hearing from Sal and the players, and we can bring some of that sound in. For the first time in Boy Green history, we're doing video call-ins where you guys can hit up the Cam Custom Laser Engraving Hotline, and you can join me on the show and give your reactions and takes and everything after every game. So, guys, we're introducing that phone line for the guests or for the fans for interactions, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun stuff. So that starts on Monday Night Football. It'll be a late one, 1 or 2 in the morning. God only knows, but we will be live, and I hope you guys can join us on that phone line, that hotline, and hopefully we're talking about an awesome Jets win, baby. So hopefully you guys can enjoy that. More details to come on that, but wanted to give you a little bit of a tease. You guys can also see it in the YouTube community page and on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well, at BoyGreen25. We are opening the lines for the fans because this will be an amazing season. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.